What position you played in high school?
High school, I played running back.
Okay.
Yeah,
So going through your career in high school, doing your thing, did you
yeah.
have any looks coming out?
Coming out of high school, I ain't had no offers.
Dang,
I had no offers. I had
that's crazy to think, nah.
yeah, cause I had some schools coming to visit me.
Mm,
Situations was going how they were going, but I ain't receive. Well, I did receive one offer. I received one offer from FAMU, and then probably like 2 days before signing day, I remember texting my brother. I'm like, tell coach to send me the letter of intent so I could sign.
mm-hmm.
So he ended up telling my brother, tell your brother call me, cause my brother was at FAM at the time.
Mm,
So I ended up calling him, and he was like, yeah, man, we had to pull your scholarship because you was a non-qualifier. So that was really the only offer I had. Then it got pulled from me 2 days before signing
dang.
day. So, at that point, I was left with nothing. So, you
What
know,
you what did you do at that point in between? Like I know you probably discouraged at the point, like
yeah.
in between before you get an opportunity to play college ball. What were you doing in between?
Honestly, man, I emailed so many coaches, bro. Like I emailed every D1 coach you could think of.
Mm,
I was going through the list where it's like I'm going receiver, running back, and head coach, and I'm typing the same message. I wish I still had that email so
yeah.
I could pull up the message that I was sending, but I sent it to every JUCO coach. I was texting some of my homeboys who was at JUCOs. I'm like, man, holla at the coach for me,
Mm,
but none of it fell through, man. Like none of it fell through. I had one coach, he was at Butler. And he was like, man, I'm looking at your film. Like, you don't need to waste no years going to JUCO. You need to try to go to like a Division 1 or something like that.
mm.
So, I was trying, but I could never get in. So honestly, man, I was like, yeah, I'm done with the game. I'm done with football. I'm straight. And I started working at Amazon, honestly,
How
for that
long?
year.
How long was you working at Amazon?
I was working at Amazon for a year from like, it was probably like October 26, 20, yeah, October 2016, all the way up until that next year, 2017.
What kind of changed for you to ultimately, make that decision? Like, man, I want to get back to ball.
Yeah.
Man, it's my love.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It never clicked for me that I wanted to get back
Mm,
into playing football. It was just I had went to FAM because I was trying to take the ACT. So that was the only place that was close in proximity where I could take the ACT
mm-hmm.
and be able to, get into a school. So me and my mama, we drove up to FAM, took the ACT, but something happened with the scores and everything else. So honestly, they had sent me an email. My mama had already read the email, but I didn't. So when I first looked at the email, the first thing it read was, you have not, it was like good morning or good evening, you have not been accepted. And I closed the email. I'm like, I ain't get accepted. My mama like, boy, read the email, like she like, boy, read the email, like read the full email. So it was like, it said you have not been accepted, but you could come through the Access Summer Bridge program, and you pass your summer classes, you can be admitted into school. And that's when it clicked, like, oh, I'm going to school.
Yeah.
Like once I read that, once I saw that, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to school. It's over with.
And during this process, like going to fam, you get up there and stuff. Are you even thinking about playing ball at that point?
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. Once I was going to school, I'm like, I'm finna walk on, and I'm finna make a name for myself. From the first time I saw that email, I remember going to work. I was telling some of the workers, like, cause they was from the neighborhood, and I was telling them, boys, I'm finna go up there and I'm finna, do what I'm finna do, and it went exactly like
we
that.
see what you did.
Exactly.
So I want to hear how it went when you walking on, because you know how it go, man. Most people, they hear walk on, they thinking they trash.
Yeah.
But then you getting out there, you embarrassing scholarship players. And
Yeah.
when did the coach like, nah, we got to put this man on scholarship?
Probably after a couple practices on scout team. I had a couple practices on scout team, but like people don't even know how I even got on the team. Where it was like when I first got there, they told me I couldn't even practice. So my first couple of weeks, I was watching them practice, and they told me I couldn't practice until the first day of classes. So I already got that fire in me because I'm itching to get out there.
Yeah.
And right now I can't, because I gotta follow the rules. And so it was probably the first week of practices. The first 2 practices, quarterback threw it, brrr, like I'm bombing them. I'm bombing them. So now everybody like, hold on, like that, because my brother was already there. So my brother was good. Like my brother was like that. So they like, okay, this is little brother, but he'll walk on. So they kind of, like, okay, is he like his brother?
Yeah.
So once I start bombing them and I'm taking them deep, they like, oh boy, little Smith like that. And from that point, the coaches, I kept doing it consistently. Every practice, I'm bombing them. Every practice, I'm making plays. So it's like, okay, we gonna see what he could do, man. It just went from there for real.
How I feel, cause a lot of people don't get to play with their siblings. Like, a lot of mine ain't get to play sports with. What it was like playing with your brother?
See, the only time we really got to play together was in high school. He was a quarterback, and sometimes, they'll throw me in at receiver. They'll just put me in because I was young. I'm like at 10th grade at this time. The majority of the team, seniors. So, that was really honestly a blessing. That was probably the best thing I could ever, do. Because, if I'm catching a touchdown pass, it's coming from big bruh. So, like, that was... That meant the world to me, for real. I wish we could have played together in college because that was the ultimate goal, for real. Like, once I first got to fam, the whole ultimate goal was, me and my brother making plays out there and doing it together. So I wish we could have played in college, but doing it in high school, man, that was the best thing I could have ever hoped for real.
You talked about, ultimately being overlooked, coming out of high school and always having that chip on your shoulder. What's your mindset? Because I feel like a lot of it, of course, people look at your size and they thought, man, we don't know if he can play at this level because he's small.
Yeah.
What's in your mind knowing that people overlooking you? They think you too small for the game, but man, I can play.
It really has nothing to do with them, though. And for me, it's ultimately just the belief in myself, knowing that I could play the game, knowing what I could do on the field, and just, my heart bigger than my size. And so anytime I step out there on the field, it's like I know I belong, man. And it ain't about the size. Like they say, it ain't about the size of the dog. It's about the hold on. We gonna cut that out, It ain't what it is. It ain't about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the fight and the dog. You feel me? So for me, like that's my mentality, bro. Like, I know I'm probably smaller than everybody. I know a lot of these guys probably a lot bigger than me, but man, I got that heart and I'm gonna go out there and compete because I got that belief in myself. And I'm not really trying to prove it to nobody. Ultimately, just really trying to prove it to myself.
It's still crazy to me that people, even in this day and age, they still using that as a reason to overlook people. Because for me, when I played linebacker, the hardest people, the people I hated going against was the little quick back.
Yeah.
Because they hard to tackle in open field. Everybody else easy. So it's like they saying you too small, but it's not like nobody ever finna get a clean shot on you anyway.
Right.
Like I'm not going into no quick shifty back thinking I'm finna knock his head off. I'm like, man, make the tackle.
Yeah.
Anybody else, I'm head hunting.
Yeah.
But a shifty back is like make the tackle because otherwise they gonna embarrass you.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
And it's like, man, you really can't kind of focus on the size, like when you out there on the field, David and Goliath. So, man, honestly, man, I'm just going out there and trying to, perform for myself. And I want the guys coming after me to know where it ain't about how big you is. As long as you got that belief in yourself, you can do whatever you want to do with it.
That's